Alright, let's talk about something truly amazing. We're going to build a camera. Not a fancy digital one with a million buttons and menus. No, we're going old school. I mean really old school. We're building a camera obscura, a pinhole camera, using nothing more than a common shoebox. This is science and art rolled into one beautiful, simple package. The basic idea has been around for centuries, long before the first photograph was ever taken. It's based on a fundamental principle of light. Light travels in straight lines. When you see how this simple box can capture a detailed image of the world, it feels like pure magic. It's a project that connects you directly to the very essence of what photography is. So what is a pinhole camera? It's the simplest camera imaginable. It has no lens, no viewfinder, no electronics. It's just a light-proof box with a tiny hole on one side. Light from the outside world streams through that single pinhole and projects an inverted or upside-down image onto the opposite side of the box. Think of it like this. Every point in the scene you're looking at reflects light in all directions. The pinhole acts like a filter, only allowing a very small focused set of rays from each point to pass through. This keeps the image from becoming a blurry mess and instead creates a surprisingly clear, albeit reversed, picture inside our box. It's a beautiful demonstration of physics in action. The coolest part about this whole endeavor is that you are building the device that captures the image. You are the engineer, the designer, and the photographer. This isn't just about following instructions, it's about understanding the process from the ground up. Every step, from cutting the hole to developing the print, gives you a deeper appreciation for the technology we often take for granted. You'll learn about light, optics, and even a little bit of chemistry. It's a hands-on experiment where the result is a unique piece of art that you created with your own two hands. And trust me, the first time you see that ghostly image appear on the paper, it's a moment you will never forget. It's pure, unadulterated discovery. This project is for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a kid just getting into science, or an adult who's curious about how things work. The materials are cheap, the steps are straightforward, and the payoff is huge. We're going to break down every single part of the process. I'll show you how to prepare the box, make the perfect pinhole, load the light-sensitive paper, take a picture, and even develop it yourself in a makeshift darkroom. We're not just building a camera, we're building an experience. So grab a shoebox and let's get ready to bend light to our will. This is where the real fun begins. Let's dive in and make something awesome. First things first, let's get our materials in order. A good build starts with good preparation. You'll need a sturdy shoebox. Any kind will do, but one with a snug-fitting lid is best. This box is going to be our camera body, the dark chamber where the magic happens. Its job is to keep all unwanted light out. Next up, you need black paint, preferably a matte or flat finish, and a paintbrush. We're going to paint the inside of the box completely black. This is super important because it prevents stray light from bouncing around inside and ruining our photograph. We want the only light hitting our photo paper to be the light coming directly from the pinhole. Now for the lens part of our camera. We need a small thin piece of metal. The bottom of an aluminum soda can works perfectly for this. It's thin enough to poke a clean hole through but sturdy enough to hold its shape. We'll also need a sewing needle or a very fine pin. This is what we'll use to create our pinhole. The size of this hole is critical. It determines the sharpness and brightness of our image. You'll also need some heavy-duty black tape, like electrical tape or gaffer's tape. This is our universal problem solver. We'll use it to seal any light leaks, hold our pinhole in place, and create a shutter. It's the glue that holds our whole project together, literally. Of course, a camera needs something to capture the image on. For that, we need photographic paper, also known as silver gelatin paper. You can buy this online or from a photography supply store. It comes in a light-proof package because it's sensitive to light. You will absolutely need a room that you can make completely dark to handle this paper. We'll also need some basic tools, a pair of scissors or a craft knife for cutting, and a ruler for measuring. Precision isn't everything here, but being neat will definitely help us get a better result. These tools will help us make clean cuts and assemble our camera with a bit more accuracy. Finally, for the development stage, you'll need a few more items. This is where we get into the chemistry. You'll need photographic developer, stop bath, and fixer chemicals. You can often buy these in a convenient starter kit. You'll also need 3 small trays or plastic containers to hold these chemicals, and a pair of tongs to handle the paper so you don't get chemicals on your fingers. A red light bulb, also known as a safe light, is also incredibly helpful. It provides just enough light to see in your darkroom without exposing the photographic paper. And remember, safety, grab some rubber gloves and safety goggles. We're playing with chemicals, so we always prioritize safety. Now that we have our gear, it's time to build. The first step is to make our camera body as dark as a cave on a moonless night. Open up your shoebox and get your black paint ready. The goal here is to coat every single square inch of the inside of that box with flat black paint. That includes the bottom, all 4 sides, and the inside of the lid. Why matte black? Because a glossy surface would reflect light, creating glare and weird spots on our photo. A flat matte surface absorbs light, which is exactly what we want. Apply a nice even coat and let it dry completely. You might need a second coat to cover any spots you missed. While the paint is drying, we can prepare our pinhole assembly. Take your piece of aluminum from the soda can, cut out a small square, maybe about 1 inch by 1 inch. Be careful, as the cut edges of the can might be sharp. Place this little metal square on a piece of cardboard or a stack of paper to support it. Now take your sewing needle. Very carefully push the very tip of the needle through the center of the aluminum square. You don't want to push the whole needle through, just the very tip. We're aiming for a tiny, perfectly round hole. You can gently twist the needle as you push to make it smooth. A smaller, cleaner hole will give you a sharper picture. Once the paint inside your shoebox is bone dry, it's time to install our pinhole. On one of the shorter ends of the shoebox, use your craft knife or scissors to cut a small window right in the middle. This window should be slightly smaller than your aluminum square, maybe about 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. Now, take your aluminum square with the pinhole in it. From the inside of the box, place it over the window you just cut, making sure the pinhole is centered. Use your black electrical tape to secure it firmly in place. Tape all 4 edges of the aluminum square to the inside of the box. We need an airtight, light-proof seal here. The final step in building our camera body is creating a shutter. A shutter is simply a mechanism that covers the pinhole, keeping light out until we're ready to take a picture. Our shutter is going to be brilliantly simple. Cut a strip of black electrical tape about 2 or 3 inches long. Stick it over the pinhole on the outside of the box. You can fold over one end of the tape onto itself to create a little non-sticky tab. This tab will make it easy to peel the tape back when you want to expose the paper and stick it back down when you're done. Check the lid for a snug fit. If you see any light leaking around the edges, use more black tape to seal those gaps. Your camera is built. Perfect. This next part is critical, and it requires us to work in total darkness. I'm not kidding. Photographic paper is extremely sensitive to light. Any exposure to normal light, even for a split second, will ruin it. So, you need to prepare a dark room. This doesn't have to be a professional setup. A bathroom with no windows, a closet, or a basement room where you can block all light sources will work perfectly. Cover any windows with thick blankets or black garbage bags. Block the crack of light under the door with a towel. If you have a red safe light, you can set that up. The specific red wavelength won't expose the paper, allowing you to see what you're doing. Once your room is pitch black, it's time to handle the paper. Before you turn out the lights, make sure you have everything you need within reach. Your shoebox camera, the box of photographic paper, and some tape. You don't want to be fumbling around in the dark. Open the box of photographic paper. You'll notice the paper has 2 sides. One is shiny and smooth, and the other is duller. The shiny side is the emulsion side. This is the side that's coated with light-sensitive chemicals. This shiny side must face the pinhole. Take out one sheet of paper. Be careful to only touch it by the edges to avoid leaving fingerprints on the emulsion. Now open your shoebox camera. You're going to place the single sheet of photographic paper inside at the end of the box directly opposite the pinhole. Remember, shiny side facing the pinhole. You want the paper to lie flat against the back wall of the camera. To keep it from moving around, you can use a small piece of tape on each corner to hold it in place. Some people like to make little paper corners to hold it, but tape works just fine for your first try. Just be gentle. Once the paper is securely in place, carefully put the lid back on the shoebox, making sure it's on tight. Your camera is now officially loaded and ready to go. You can now turn the lights back on or leave your darkroom. The paper is safe inside its dark sealed box. Make sure the shutter, the piece of black tape on the outside, is still covering the pinhole. This is your only protection against accidental exposure. It's a good idea to double check all the seals on your box one last time to be sure no stray light can get in. The anticipation is building. You've built a camera and you've loaded it with film. The next step is the most exciting part, going out into the world and capturing an image. You've done the hard work of building and loading your camera. Now it's time for the fun part, taking a picture. The first thing you need to do is choose your subject. Because pinhole cameras need a lot of light and long exposure times, you should pick something that is not going to move. Buildings, landscapes, statues, or a very patient friend are all great choices. You'll get the best results on a bright sunny day. The more light you have, the shorter your exposure time will be, and the less chance there is of your image becoming blurry. Find a good spot and think about your composition. Once you've found your subject, you need to place your camera on a stable surface. This is incredibly important. Any movement of the camera during the exposure will result in a completely blurred image. A tripod is ideal if you can figure out a way to mount your box, but a flat rock, a bench, a wall, or even the ground will work perfectly. Just make sure it is level and won't wobble or be knocked over by a gust of wind. Point the pinhole directly at the center of the scene you want to capture. Take a moment to make sure it's aimed correctly. Since you don't have a viewfinder, you have to eyeball it. Now, for the moment of truth, the exposure. This is a bit of an art and a bit of a science. The time you need to leave the shutter open depends on how bright the light is, the size of your pinhole, and the sensitivity of your paper. On a bright sunny day, a good starting point is an exposure time of about 30 seconds to 2 minutes. If it's an overcast or cloudy day, you might need to leave it open for 5 to 15 minutes. It takes some experimentation. Using a watch or the timer on your phone, carefully peel back the tape shutter. Start your timer. Be very gentle so you don't move the camera. When the time is up, carefully place the tape shutter back over the pinhole, making sure it's sealed. That's it. You've done it. You have captured an image inside your camera. The light-sensitive paper now holds a latent image, a chemical ghost of the scene you pointed it at. It's invisible for now, but it's there, waiting to be revealed in the darkroom. You can now pick up your camera and take it back to your darkroom for the final magical step of development. Don't peel the lid off to peek. That will instantly expose the paper to light and erase everything. The mystery must be preserved until you are back in the safety of the dark. Welcome back to the darkroom. This is where the real alchemy begins. Before you do anything, get your station set up. You'll need your 3 trays laid out in a row. Pour your developer into the first tray, your stop bath into the second, and your fixer into the third. Read the instructions on the chemical bottles. Some may need to be diluted with water. Do this with the lights on, and be sure to wear your rubber gloves and safety goggles. Chemicals can irritate your skin and eyes. Once your trays are ready and your safe light is on, turn off the main lights and make the room completely dark again. This is your workspace now. With the room dark, you can now safely open your Shoebox camera. Carefully remove the lid and take out the sheet of photographic paper, holding it only by the edges. At this point, you won't see anything on the paper. The image is latent, which means it's chemically there but not yet visible. This is where the developer comes in. Take your paper with the tongs and completely submerge it in the first tray, the developer, with the shiny side up. Gently rock the tray back and forth to make sure the chemical covers the paper evenly. Now watch closely. This is the magic. Within about 30 to 60 seconds, you will start to see an image slowly appear on the paper. It will look like a ghost materializing out of nowhere. It's an incredible moment. You'll notice that the image is a negative, meaning the light and dark areas are reversed. Bright parts of your scene, like the sky, will look dark, and dark parts like shadows will look light. Let the image develop until it looks rich and detailed, which usually takes about 2 minutes. Don't leave it in too long, or the whole thing will just turn black. Using your tongs, lift the print out of the developer and let it drip for a moment. Next, move the print into the second tray, the stop bath. This chemical instantly stops the development process, freezing the image exactly as it is. Agitate it in the stop bath for about 30 seconds. This is a crucial step to prevent overdevelopment. After the stop bath, move the print into the third and final tray, the fixer. The fixer makes the image permanent and no longer sensitive to light. Leave the print in the fixer for about 5 to 10 minutes, agitating it occasionally. After it's fixed, you can turn on the regular lights. Your image is now safe. To finish, rinse the print in a tray of clean water for several minutes to wash off all the chemicals, then hang it up to dry. So you've developed your first photo, but maybe it didn't turn out quite right. Don't worry, this is part of the process. Science is all about trial and error. Let's go through some common problems. What if your photo is completely black? This almost always means it was exposed to too much light. This could be because your exposure time was way too long, or more likely your camera box has a light leak somewhere. To find it, take your empty camera into a dark room, shine a bright flashlight all over the outside, and look for any glimmers of light coming through the seams or corners on the inside. A little bit of black tape can fix that right up. What if your photo comes out completely white, or very, very faint? This is the opposite problem. Not enough light reached the paper. This usually means your exposure time was too short for the lighting conditions. Try taking the picture again, but this time, double or even triple your exposure time. If you were shooting for 2 minutes, try 4 or 6. Another possible cause could be that your pinhole is too small, not letting enough light through. You could try very carefully widening it just a tiny bit with your needle, but adjusting exposure time is usually the easier first step to try. It's a balancing act you learn with practice. Another common issue is a blurry or fuzzy image. A little bit of softness is characteristic of pinhole photos. That's part of their charm. But if it's excessively blurry, there are 2 likely culprits. The first and most common cause is that the camera moved during the exposure. Even the slightest vibration can cause blurring over a long exposure. Make sure your camera is on a rock-solid surface next time. The second cause could be a pinhole that is too large or has ragged edges. A clean, small, round hole gives the sharpest image. You might need to make a new aluminum square with a more carefully crafted pinhole. Finally, what if you see weird spots, smudges or fingerprints on your finished print? Smudges and blotches that appear during development are often caused by uneven chemical coverage. Make sure you are agitating the trays gently but consistently. Fingerprints are a classic rookie mistake, and they happen when you touch the shiny, emulsion side of the paper. Always remember to handle the photographic paper only by its edges, both when loading it and during development. Every problem has a solution. Think like a detective, isolate the variable, and try again. Each attempt, successful or not, teaches you something new about this amazing process. Keep experimenting.